Islam Podcast. Den Islam hören und erleben.
If someone is telling you, I am a Muslim but my behavior is bad, can you tell him, no, because of your behavior you are outside? Who are you to say this to the heart of the people? Can you put the heart of the people in or out? Good question. Who has the right to do that? The second question coming from that, which is also a very important point, is the question of authority. Who is or who has the right to express rules or hukm or ahkam or fatawa? Because you have now something which is a very modern trend saying everyone could take the Quran and say whatever he or she wants. And I'm saying that this is very dangerous. It's dangerous because yes, you can go for the Quran and read the Quran. It's open to everyone to open your heart. The spiritual dimension of the Quran is something which is completely democratic in the sense that it's open to everyone. No mediator between you and the Quran on the spiritual ground. But when it comes to ahkam, rules, it's a very difficult text to read. Because it's not chronological. You have to understand the chronology of the verse. You have to understand the way it was, where it was revealed. It's a science. And if you open the interpretation to everyone, you also have to face people reading a text saying, وَقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ, kill them wherever you find them. He takes the text and says, I'm going to kill them. It's written in the text, I have the right to interpret the text. So to open up interpretations to everyone, this is also the risk. And how are you going to tell him or her, no, this is not Islamic? It's written. You told me that I have the right. So it's good when it's right to be free, but what about the right to kill? Very important. If you open one door, you have to face the consequences. So this has to do with science, and this is where academia is so important. Yes, to open up interpretations with the means, with the knowledge, with the competence to do this. Not to anyone just to take one verse whenever I want and to destroy the whole apparatus, knowing what is fundamental and what is secondary. This is one field with the side questions. There is a second field now, which is very important. It has to do now not only with interpretations of the text, and by the way, if you read the book, Western Muslims and the Future of Islam, you have it now in German. I'm just trying to categorize the way the Muslims are dealing with the text by saying there is not only two ways of reading the text, the moderate and the fundamentalist. There are 5, 6, or 7. You have the literalist, you have the traditionalist, following a very specific school, you have the reformist, and among the reformists you have the rationalist, and you have the Salafi reformist. You have the Sufi, the mystical way of reading the text. You have the pure rationalist, and you have a very political way of reading the text. All this is there. And if you come in your city here, I can tell you that you will find the 5 interpretations of the 6 strands everywhere. Even in Germany. You will find literalist, you will find traditionalist, you will find Sufi, everywhere. Wherever there is a Muslim community, you have many trends. And you have to accept this. Now, as long as we are not saying something which is destroying the fundamentals, and this is where there are discussions, but we have to accept the fact that there is a diversity in our interpretation. So this is something which is important for us in the West because we are dealing with this. Add to this that we have a problem ourselves, is that we all have these interpretations and then we have mosques where we can clearly see that we have a problem of culture. We all say that there is no difference of races and there is no racism in Islam and we are all brothers and sisters. But when you are a Moroccan brother and with a Moroccan community or an Algerian Muslim with an Algerian community or a Turkish Muslim with a Turkish, the Turkish has much more brothers than the others. And the Algerian much more brothers than the others. And the Moroccan, we all know this. We all know that we are facing this problem. Go to our mosque. And we thought that after 20 years it's going to change and the problem is still there. And we have to ask ourselves, this articulation of diversity, what is the problem? Why is it that very often when you have a gathering of German, Turkish Muslims, very often the Turkish are together, and very often the Arabs are together, and very often the Pakistani are together, but they all say we are all brothers and sisters and brothers. There is something which is a very important point, is how do we articulate this? And you cannot face this relation with text and cultures if you don't add to this a relationship with the text, but also history, sociology, and migrations. This is something which is quite important. We have to add this. The second field, when it comes to teaching Islam in the West, has to do with fiqh and understanding the two main methodologies. And this is something which is really important. Then it's much more important for us today than theology per se. The discourse on God, I will come to this. But much more importantly is the legal framework. In the book, To Be a European Muslim, I was dealing with fiqh. I was dealing with, these are the new challenges for us when we live in a secular society. You as German Muslims, you have a law. Okay, you have a law, and you have an abiding law. You have to abide by the law of the country. Is this halal or haram? We had scholars 25 years ago saying, no, it's haram, because these laws are not yours. Don't take the German nationality or passport. Come back home. This was the discourse, because they were not facing the reality. Now we have new generations, third, fourth generation of Muslims being here. Now, it's not a problem to take the passport. It's not a problem to say I'm a German. It's not a problem to speak with the German language. We had scholars telling us once upon a time, don't speak English, this is the language of the kuffar, the infidels. In his mind, this is it. Now we don't have a problem. While half of the Muslims were already speaking English in Indonesia and Pakistan, but he was just up, for example, with Algerian in France. Don't speak the language of the colonizers. So all this now, it's coming with new understanding. Why? Because we are facing new challenges and we are changing our way to deal with the ahkam and the rules and the understanding. Not that we are changing, but we are having a better understanding of the challenges. That we abide by the law, we know the language of the country, you know the 3 L's that I am always speaking about. We need to have 3 L's. Respect the law of the country, know the language of the country, and to be loyal to your country. And loyalty, it's not blind loyalty. Loyalty is, I want the best for my country. But if my government is doing something which is bad, I will be critical. So a critical loyalty is the only good loyalty that is for all the citizens. But this is coming from a discourse on usul, on fiqh. And this is where we need also to teach that in the realm of al-ibadat, worship, the 5 pillars, testifying that there is only one God, praying, the zakat, the hajj, and the 5 pillars. Here, you can do but what is written. You can do but what is written. This is the classical interpretation. If it's written, sami'ana wa ata'na. We read and we obey. But in the other field of al-mu'amalat, the social affairs, it's exactly the opposite. Everything is possible as long as you don't come with one verse telling me that it's forbidden. So it's exactly the opposite methodology. So I come to Germany, everything which is good in Germany, it's mine. So much so that I'm translating it in something which is in the critical discussion. I'm talking to you, you are a non-Muslim, I'm a Muslim, you have a good idea, it's mine. You have a bad idea, it's yours. This is the way you are with the culture. Everything which is good in the culture you take. For example, in Germany, we are used to start our meeting on time. That's very Islamic. Which in the Moroccan, Turkish are better than Arabs on that. Oh yes, they are, I can tell you they are better. And among the Arabs, there are some who are better than others. But I'm not going to start the discussion on this, but just to let